Alright, welcome back to Flight Sim 2024 and welcome to my little camp here somewhere in the Kruger National Park. We're in the kind of southwestern part. We're actually just southeast of Pretorius Corp Rest Camp. And actually if I do this, you can see Shipwreck Mountain just over there, which if you've ever been to Kruger is a pretty well-known landmark. So that means Pretorius Corp is somewhere over there towards those hills. But anyway, in today's kind of new series thing that I'm going to be doing in Flight Sim 2024, we're taking a look at probably the feature that I'm most excited for. So as you all know, we now have animated animals that will walk around, do different animations, but most importantly react to your aircraft as well. So if you fly over them, they will run. You can actually chase them around with helicopters and stuff if you want to do that. But there's also a photography challenge kind of thing in Flight Sim 2024 where one of the things you need to photograph is a bunch of the animals here in South Africa. So we're in the Kruger Park because I think like 90 maybe even more % of the animals in that challenge we can find here in the park. So my plan for this series is we've got our little base camp here on this hill and we're going to be taking this little ultralight thingy out, powered parachute, whatever it's called, but we're going to try and complete the photography challenge by spotting all of the animals, and I'm going to try and do it pretty realistically. So it's going to be a case of we're picking an area, we're fueling up our ultralight, and we're going out there and just nice and low level, nice and slow, and trying to spot all the different animals. I can't remember everything that's on the list. We'll take a look towards the end of the video, but I have tested the photography system and it works in free flight, so you don't have to be in the actual photography challenge thing. If you take a picture of an animal in free flight, it does count it. So I tested it on a buffalo on one of the other flights that I did, and it worked fine, which means just here in normal free flight, if we fly around and we see something, we take a picture, it'll work just fine. Some of the animals are going to be really challenging, so I think things like zebra, buffalo, giraffe are going to be pretty easy. However, things like hyena and wild dog I think are going to be the biggest challenge. Firstly because they're pretty small and they're also way more rare, particularly like wild dog. But the other thing I want to keep an eye out for is I know that there are other animals in the sim that aren't in the challenge. For example, on one of my flights around a nature reserve in Pretoria, I actually saw sable antelope, which aren't part of the challenge. So hopefully we can actually spot some things that we don't even know are in there. I've seen an elephant once. I've seen a cheetah once. I didn't take pictures of them in the sim because I didn't know that that existed yet. So we've got quite a bit of work ahead of us. So we'll be doing several flights out here. The other thing that's interesting, and actually we can get going, as you can see it's a lovely cloudy early morning. It's just after, it's about 5:45 local time here in Kruger, and it's a lovely high overcast morning, so it shouldn't affect us too much. It was raining the whole of yesterday and pretty much all night, and there actually were some animals last night pretty close on this side of the slope, and down that side we had zebra and giraffe around us here not so long ago. So let's maybe see if we can spot something like that right off the bat. So let's get our little aircraft powered up. So the other interesting thing about this is it doesn't really seem to have like a fuel gauge. So I've filled it up and I did a bit of a test. I don't know how long we can fly for. It's also kind of easy to cook this engine, so we need to keep that in mind and keep the power setting quite low, which is fine because we're supposed to be flying low and slow anyway. So yeah, I think we'll probably fly for about half an hour and then start making our way back. We're not going to go particularly far today because I just kind of want to check out the area that we're in and see what it has to offer. So we'll probably just do some rotations of this like outcrop that we're on here and progressively get a little bit further away, and then we'll see how that goes. Okay, so if you don't know, you can actually disconnect the chute. So you can see it's not attached currently. There's no parking brake on this. If you click on this little thing here, so that'll reattach it. However, even if it is, if you detach it, if you pick up enough speed, it'll automatically reappear. You can also see if it's there by these ropes over here. Right, let's go. It doesn't need much of a takeoff on this little aircraft. And you can see the tracks of me checking if we can actually get in and out of this area. So there was some zebra down here last night. It seems like they've moved off. So the other thing I have checked is spawning in and out of the same area over and over again. The animals definitely don't spawn in the same place, and it doesn't spawn the same animals in the same area either. So I actually have no idea how the spawning system works, but on the surface it appears to be pretty random, which is cool. We don't really want to know, oh, if I just go to this exact coordinates, you know, we'll see a particular animal. So that is good. Again, there must be some logic to where things spawn, but on the surface at least it seems to be quite random. Okay, so this is basically gonna be the majority of our flying. It's just nice and low like this, pretty slow, and just keeping an eye out for things down below us. Also, as we progress through the challenge, I'm probably going to move the base camp around, because again, I don't know how the spawning system actually works, but as with any area, there's particular places in Kruger we can go for certain animals. So for example, when we really need to get a picture of a lion, in reality somewhere like Satara would be a great place to go. I don't think it's going to be that kind of detailed in the sim, but at least we can kind of change up the scenery. So for example, heading out towards the Satara side of Kruger, less trees, pretty much all flat and open, will make it easier to spot things like wild dog, hyena, lions, cheetah, the smaller animals that are going to be easier concealed, and the animals that also tend to stay on their own. The only place I've actually seen an elephant in this sim was up in the north of Kruger, and I wasn't actually looking for anything. I was just flying around. I think I was actually just doing some tests with 2024, and that's the only one I've ever seen. So I thought elephants would be a bit more abundant and that they'd be pretty easy to spot because they're big, but it seems that that may not be the case. And I actually saw some people online complaining that this challenge takes quite a long time to complete and a lot of just flying around looking, which yeah, I kind of think that's the point. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not all about just getting the pictures. It's just about flying around and exploring some cool looking places. So I'm not too worried about this taking ages to complete, because I'm quite happy to just fly around like this and just have a look at the scenery. And if you had to try and do this in real life, this is probably what it would be like. Okay, it is actually quite windy, so I think I'm going to keep going this side because this is where the wind wants to push us. So our camp is just off to our right now, so we'll kind of just keep circling around this area, especially while I'm still learning how long we can actually fly for on a tank with this aircraft. So again, I put in full fuel, so what we can do is fly for about half an hour. So we were on 45 minutes, and fly for about half an hour, and then head back and actually see how much fuel we've used. Again, I'm cruising at a pretty low setting, but while this might not be the most advanced aircraft, I think it's absolutely perfect for what we're doing here. Wow, so nothing in the area now. And while I was setting up the camp and stuff, we had, at one point, there was zebra, there were giraffe around here as well. I saw buffalo in the area, and warthog as well. But I didn't take pictures of them because I'm saving that for the challenge. And I think we're pretty much going to photograph anything, to be honest, because you can always get a better picture, I suppose. But now, of course, now that I start recording, there's absolutely nothing around us here. Also, if you were wondering how I got the little campsite set up, so that is Parallel 42's camp out utility. They are working on a Flight Sim 2024 version, which will of course take advantage of some new features and stuff like that. But for now, if you do own it, you can copy it from your 2020 setup and just paste it into the community folder of 2024, and it seems to work just fine. The only bug I've found is that if you change the color after placing one of the elements, they kind of just disappear. So it's a small issue. Just choose the color before you place it, and then it seems to work fine. The persistence works, so I set everything up there, exited, reloaded, and everything was still there, so it seems to be working fine. This actually looks kind of interesting to the left here. So in this part of the park, there's no like public access here. I think the closest road to us is the one that goes just past Ship Mountain, or Shipwreck Mountain. The other thing I found with the animals, and if you are trying to complete the challenge, this might help you, is it seems like early morning and late afternoon, so sunrise and sunset, they start like resting, so you'll find them just lying down, and it takes a lot more for them to spook and run away. So those times of day are going to be a little bit easier for you to get pictures, because they're more likely to kind of just run a little bit and then lie down again. So it's something to keep in mind as well. Is that a little patch of water there? So I think in reality there's a little bit of water there maybe? Or it's just like a little patch of sand. So obviously in this aircraft we're not going to go particularly far, but that isn't the point. The point is low and slow and scanning the ground like this, I guess. Like I said, I've been really excited for the animals in the sim, because Oh, I thought that was something there. It's not. It's a tree. If you played FSX, so Flight Sim X or Flight Sim 10, there was a mission in there. I'm trying to think exactly what you had to do, but it was in a Robinson R22 helicopter, and you had to go out and locate like a baby elephant or something in like northern KZN. And ever since then, I always, after that, wondered, oh, if I fly around in FSX, can you actually find animals? And then you had like some that were introduced, like there were like whales up in the north of the world and stuff like that. And but ever since that mission, I thought how cool it would be if you could just fly around in a place like Kruger and basically do an aerial safari, just looking for animals. And with 2020, we had the SoFly Animals pack, which I used quite a bit, but those were very kind of fixed. So you'd have to go to a particular spot to find a particular type of animal, and they were always in the same general area. Whereas this is now getting a lot closer to what it's like in reality. So this is something we can spend hours doing, and it'll be really cool. I'd love for them to actually just publish a list of what animals actually exist in the sim, because like I said, I thought, oh, maybe if I just go through the photography challenge, you could see everything that's included. But I know I've seen animals that weren't on that list, and also it mostly, there's like an Africa challenge which has obviously all the African animals, and then there's another one, like worldwide one, that has some other ones from different countries around the world. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot more than what we see on those challenge lists, but I'd love to know everything that's actually in the sim, and it would be cool if they just like keep adding more as we go. But yeah, I haven't actually been able to find any information about what animals exist in the simulator. I think this is probably the longest that I've been, you know, in this area, as I was doing tests for this video and doing tests with camp out and tests with the different aircraft. I think this is the longest I've ever been without seeing something. And of course that would happen. The other thing I feel like might be a thing, but maybe I'm just imagining it, is it also kind of seems like the longer you spend in an area, the more animals will spawn. So I don't know how true that is, but that's certainly what it feels like, because it will always seem like I would fly around, and then if I went back past the areas where I'd already been, there'd then be animals there. And also, when I spent loads of time setting up the campsite and all of that, I'd start off with like, oh, there's just a group of zebra, and then the next time you look, there's giraffe as well, and then even later there's more things. So that could be something as well, which I guess sort of makes sense, to be like, oh, the player's spending a lot of time here, we can put more of these assets in rather than just trying to scatter them all over the place where you're probably not going to encounter them at all. But also that just might be completely me imagining that. Okay, so we're kind of heading back towards the camp again. It's back this way. also seen people saying that along rivers is a great place to find animals, and in reality that is 100% true, but I don't know if in flight sim it actually makes all that much of a difference. So maybe we should talk about like what animals I know exist in the sim. So like I said, zebra are pretty much everywhere. Buffalo are pretty much everywhere. Wildebeest are supposed to be kind of common, but I haven't seen them all that much. I've seen a couple, mostly on airports, when I'm trying to depart from an airport. We had some. I was also just doing testing in flight sim, and I had them on the runway at Lanceria. So wildebeest definitely are in the game. Sable, like I said, I've seen once. Cheetah I've seen once in Replay Nature Reserve, just outside Pretoria. What else? I've seen one elephant up in the north of Kruger. I've seen a couple of hippo also in the Kruger area. What else? Oh, warthog. I've had warthog in... That was also in Replay. Only once as well. And then of course giraffe are pretty much everywhere. I have not seen any other predators besides that one cheetah. And I've been back to Replay a few times to look for cheetah and never saw them again. They do have cheetah in Replay, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, no lion, no wild dog, no hyena. What else do we know is in the game? Can't actually think of anything else. Oh, buffalo I've definitely seen. I think those are probably the most common here in Southern Africa. So our camp is just over to the right here. So we could probably go for about another 10 minutes. That'll be our half hour up, and then we'll come back and just see how much fuel we've used. There's our little campsite. You probably didn't see it earlier, but I've got a windsock there to help us landing, so wind is coming from this side still. To be honest, the taking off in this aircraft doesn't matter too much, but with the landing it helps a lot to land into the wind, because if you have a significant bit of wind you can almost land vertically. Which you shouldn't try to do, but it can fly really slowly, this little thing, especially if you're flying into the wind. Alright, I can't believe there's absolutely nothing around here. Thought those could have been buffalo, but they're rocks. Getting into these more bushy areas is just going to make things more difficult. So we're out to the other side of our camp now. You can see those big kind of mountain rocky outcrops up ahead where we turned around last time. Look at the display here, where it says unit. I did actually wonder if that was fuel, but now I think it might not be. Because it sort of goes up and down. And it mostly stays around 85-ish. Could be when it's going up is just the angle of the fuel tank and stuff like that with the sensor. So we'll keep an eye on it. If it slowly keeps going down, then maybe we do have a fuel reading. Kind of start heading back, not far from the camp. Okay, and the camp is just up here. So wow, there's really nothing. let's come around and check the windsock, but I think we're going to be landing from this side. From the side, so we'll do like a left-hand orbit here and land just to the right of our gazebos. And what I have learned, because this thing is just a big parachute, you can fly quite nicely even with no power. So having said that, when you fly into the wind, you can see I need almost full power to just keep us going here. Means we'll come in very slowly. So you see that unit's gone up to 87 now, so I don't think that that's fuel. This is what I did last time. I actually just touched down on the slope here. Because going into that wind actually becomes quite intense. Get rid of our canopy. Now, in reality, I wouldn't operate this big fan basically around all of our tents and stuff, but there's no other way to move it around in the game. So let's actually just do this. That'll help to stop it rolling around, which it does like to do. Right, welcome back. Okay, let's see how much fuel we actually have. So, right, we started 14 kgs, we're down to 9, so we actually still got quite a lot. So we've only used 5, so we can probably go for about, let's say, an hour and 15 minutes quite easily. So let's fuel it back up to 14. And I think we'll head out again for a little bit because we need to find something. In fact, what I think we'll do is let's head out towards Shipwreck Mountain and see if we can pick up the road and just get an idea of the kind of boundary of the area we're operating in. So we do kind of want to stay away from the touristy parts of the park and keep to the more remote parts. Okay, let's attach our canopy. So that unit is definitely nothing to do with fuel because it hasn't changed at all. Right, 1 hour 15 total flight time I've got on this aircraft. So we can go, I mean technically we could go to, what, 2.5 hours? easily, I think. Right, let's head out towards the mountain. See the road, which is the boundary that we're going to operate within. I think it's on the other side of the mountain, if I remember correctly. I haven't been there in real life for a long time. I'm pretty sure when you drive past, the mountain's on your left. Okay, we don't want to push this engine too hard because it's quite easy to kill. There's some animals down there. Those look like zebra. And it looks like they are all lying down as well. Okay, so we actually want to be on this side of them because of the trees. Right, so nice little group there. Okay, I don't actually have a picture of a zebra, so we're gonna do that. So they're kind of standing up. They're gonna run off soon. There we go. So let's go into photo mode, which basically puts you into like an active pause, so the aircraft stops moving, but the animals and stuff are free to roam around. Now this does become a little bit interesting because you'll see the grass and stuff doesn't load at this distance, but if we get any closer, they run away. Go ahead and take our picture, and that should give us a photo of the zebra. No little ones in this group, because some of them you get like bonus points for having like a male and a female, or young ones in the group, or close-up. These are not going to be close-ups. We'll check eventually in the challenge. We're probably going to have to be trying to get a lot closer. They're moving back this way. They kind of are. Right, but at least we have our first animal sighting and picture for this challenge, and there they go. So you'll see they actually react to the aircraft and they will run away. I've also tried to see, does like the amount of noise you're making matter, and it doesn't seem to make all that much of a difference. Okay, let's try not to disturb them too much. We'll head off this way so they can relax. And the other thing I haven't been able to verify yet is now they've run off, so do they go back to the same place, or will they kind of just stop somewhere? And I don't actually know the answer to that, because they will run off and then just like stop and lie down or stand around, but I don't know if they like slowly make their way back to where they first spawned or what. So still some studying of virtual animals in Flight Sim that has to be done. Okay, so we have kicked off with probably the easiest picture we're gonna get, which is the zebra. They are very, very common. So based on stats, the next thing we should see should be either buffalo or giraffe. The giraffe are a little bit easier to spot because they're lighter in color and they stick out way more. So I'm going to say the next thing we're going to find is probably going to be giraffe. So have a look when we come back, if I can remember where those were, to see if we head back this way and they're actually still there. And what I'll probably end up doing on this series is generally heading out for a flight like this in the morning and again in the afternoon. So that'll give us some different weather and some different kind of sighting opportunities. But those will probably be separate videos because we aim to be around an hour-ish for each flight. Although in reality we'd probably spend much longer. I'm not sure if I should do like edited down so you just see the animal sightings or all of this. I think what I might do is both. So have a video where you can see all of the kind of searching and flying around, and then do like clips where you go, oh, here's the zebra that we spotted kind of thing, so that if there are people who just want to see the animals, they can just watch those. If you actually want to watch the exploring, you can watch the whole thing. So here's a road here. Now I don't know if this is actually a road that the public has access to, because I thought it was on the other side. Maybe I remember incorrectly. Oh, I just remembered there's also white rhino. That's another species which I've seen twice. So also not very common. Oh, there's hippo as well. I've seen one group of hippo. Yeah, I might think of more as we go. We can always just look at the list of photography species in the sim. As for what's in here that we don't know about, that remains to be seen. Right, that over there is the road that I was talking about. So these other roads here are probably management or roads for the staff, for the game rangers and stuff like that, not for the public. This big road to our left here looks like the road that the public can use. Okay, I'm just going to check out this river, and we'll do a left-hand turn at the edge of the trees here and follow that road a little bit. Now, in reality, along this road, actually pretty close to Shipwreck Mountain, I've seen a group of about 12 or 13 wild dog just chilling in the road. So in reality, they definitely occur in this area. Whether or not we'll get them in the sim, I don't know. So again, generally we'd want to kind of stay away from the roads so as not to bother the public. There's a vehicle there in the satellite image. There's also ostriches. That's another animal that I've seen once. I think that's on the photography list as well. going on the side of the mountain here. It's like a flat area. That's pretty cool. I was thinking that this could be a cool place to have a camp. I don't know if it's flat enough for that. Game paths up here. Look relatively flat. We could land this aircraft here, but where would we put our tents? Probably up in this top section here, just to the right. Oh, there's lots of bush here. Up here somewhere. That could be a cool place to have a camp. Okay, we're coming up to an hour and a half, so we're going to start heading back. It's an hour and a half flight time on the aircraft today. We're just coming up to 50 minutes of video recording time. So let's maybe kind of head along the edge of the tree line here and slowly make our way back to the camp. I'm going to be flying into the wind again now, so you can see I'm going to be a lot slower. Lots of game trails in here, which is very cool to see. So our camp is just off to the right there on those kind of brown hills. We're just staying around Shipwreck Mountain for now. So let's actually start heading this way. Baobab tree. Dry river. Is there any chance of me remembering kind of where the zebra were? So it'll be more this side. And it was an open area like this, but closer to the hill. There's something ahead of us. Those look like buffalo. There we go. There's our next species. And they're starting to run already. So technically I do have a picture of a buffalo. Because I did that to test if this works. So that we can see male and female. No little ones. Yeah, okay, so last time I saw them the animation was kind of glitched as well. So that seems to still be the case. Lying down, check it out. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Let's see if we can carry on here and find those zebra again. So the females are all running, the males are all kind of standing or just glitching out. Okay, we'll leave them in peace. Okay, so I said statistically giraffe would be next. Buffalo is pretty high on the list as well, so I'm not surprised. I did think that in the first episode we'd get all three, buffalo, zebra, and giraffe, because I've seen so many of those. So I'll be quite surprised if we make it all the way back without seeing a giraffe. think it was here somewhere that the zebra were. More that way. Ah, there's giraffe. In the beginning, when the sim came out, the giraffe were glitched as well. They would run but just stay in the same place. But I noticed earlier that they seem to be working, and there they are running properly now. And there the zebra are over there. And I don't know if those are the same ones. It might be. Okay, let's climb a bit so that they stop running. So that's the only thing, is that when they run, they do run exactly away from you. So if you do spook them, you can only get a picture of their backs, which is kind of annoying. Oh, there's more zebra up in front of the giraffe now. Okay, let's try not to stall it in here. Let's just pick up some speed and get around the corner so we can get a decent angle to actually take a picture. Like so. Zebra are spooking, but that's fine. Very nice. So, oh, what are those? Oh, more buffalo with a little one, which is glitching out. Let's see if we can get a picture of a young one. Is there another one that's not glitching out? No, it's just that one. That's kind of annoying. Oh, there we go. Oh, man. We'll do that, but we're gonna need to find a better picture of a youngster eventually. Okay, wow, so there's a lot in this area now. I don't know where the zebra actually went, but in here somewhere. Okay, the camp is over to our right now. Okay, so at least we did kick off by getting the three things we're probably going to see in every single episode. Also, not the best day for pictures in terms of lighting with the overcast. It does sometimes make things easier during the middle of the day because it's not so bright. But early morning and late afternoon, it actually gets worse because there's not enough light. Those zebra there to the left. Oh, no, it's just a patch on the ground. There's some zebra down there. These could be the ones I saw in the beginning. Although there's only two that I can see now, so maybe this is a different group. Yeah, just two moving this way. Alright, so we started off with absolutely nothing, and then towards the end of the video, we're at an hour's recording time now. We actually had quite a bit going on, which is cool. There's more buffalo down there. So this is what I mean by it feels like the longer you stay in an area, the more actually spawns in. So we've experienced it now on the first episode. I mean, I flew over here a bunch earlier, and there was nothing. Keep the altitude up. I'm going to try and not land on the slope this time and actually get a bit closer to the tents. So I'm going to keep some altitude, so when we circle around here we can push the nose over, so we don't have to just try and full throttle into the wind. Okay, so the wind is coming a little bit, basically straight down. Flying into the wind like this, you can lose altitude really quickly, even by pulling the nose up, because you're flying into the wind like that. That probably made no sense, but anyway, that dark patch might have a bush in it. Let's get rid of that. Okay, let's switch off. Go the brake. Is it gonna roll? It seems okay. Let's see how much fuel we used. Back down to 9 again, and that's just some dust from the prop that's stopping. Right, so there we are, safely back at the camp. It's parked in its little cover, and still a nice overcast morning. It's only 6:45, so we've got the whole day ahead of us, but that will happen in the next episode. What I am going to do is jump back into the menu, and we can just take a look at the list of animals for the photography challenge. So I'll see you in just a bit for that. Okay, so here we are inside the Savannah Safari photography challenge. That's hilarious because that's not a zebra, but I think this is actually the test picture I took of the buffalo. There were zebra in the background, so maybe it's seeing that, but hopefully we can improve this by getting a better picture. So you'll see for our giraffe, we only got 1 star because what does it actually want? So in close-up, wow, it counted that as a close-up. On foot and with the sun in the frame. So that's going to be interesting. Right. So this is what I'm talking about. You can just launch in here and it kind of shows you where you can find them. So what's interesting is that they're not really... Okay, it's still loading. That's why. So this is the Kruger area here, and you can see it's full of them. So that's cool. So bush elephants, we don't have a picture of. Zebra, that's a upload, but I think there's one in the background. So we can also get 3 stars. We need to be close up, on foot, and with a juvenile in close up. Okay. So that's going to be interesting. But it says, I've got 4 stars. So that's 3. So then the other will be our buffalo. And this is also from the test pictures, not the pictures we took now. You can see they're just everywhere. Okay, so then let's go through. Oops, go back here. So we've got giraffe, bush elephant, zebra, lion, white rhino. Lion I've never seen in the sim. White rhino, hippo I have seen. Ostrich I've seen. Gnu, that's wildebeest. Buffalo, cheetah, hyena, warthog, and forest elephant. So forest elephant is the one that we're not going to get in Kruger. Those are going to be up in northern Africa. So we'll have to do a trip up here at some point to find these guys, but otherwise the rest we can all do in the Kruger Park. But anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did make it all the way to this point, I really do appreciate it. If you did enjoy it and you want to follow along, you know what to do down below, and I'll see you in the next one.